So I'm working in some compost here today. If you can see quite far enough, I'll zoom in for you here. My dad's over there spreading compost with a bunning spreader, and some little ways behind him here, but we're putting about 3 tons of compost, and it's manured compost. It's compost out of cattle manure is what it is. Our beef cow operations manure. So we're putting 3 tons on. This is following wheat, red spring wheat, and then next year this is actually going to be green manure. And the reason we're doing that is to try to grow a bigger, better green manure, so as we grow better crop for a couple years following. And then also because of the weed seeds, we want the weeds to grow out of a crop year. So I'm working this in. We're using the chisel plow again, and the reason I'm using that is because there's thistles in here. And because there's thistles in here, they're nice and young. I'm only going 4.5 miles an hour, 4.6, and that way we're pulling the thistles out gently, is what my theory is here. We're trying to pull them out without breaking the rhizomes off. So hopefully we're not making more thistles, and we're pulling up the old ones. As you can see, it is plenty moist enough. We keep having damp, cool weather now. It is getting towards the end of September, well, middle to late September anyway, so the days are getting shorter and it's getting cooler, and so we're thinking we might as well keep trying to work away at these weeds if we can. So we're ripping the thistles out. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the compost. So this compost we're spreading now was it was a year ago. We started making it last spring. So it's been over a year since it's been making. That particular compost, we turned it 5 times that season, last summer. We didn't start making it until I think we were into the first week of July when we started the compost. And we found that it didn't make in that season. It wasn't finished its humification in that last summer. So it didn't make heat this spring. It finished over winter, but we weren't able to spread it last fall, and we didn't want to spread it this spring because we spread on one field that we could seed late to allow for a flush of weeds, but we had nothing else to seed late that we were comfortable having some weeds in, so we left it in the pile and we're spreading it now. We also have 2 batches of compost from this year, so that was made this spring, and it's just the one batch is just finishing now, so we're going to be able to spread it this fall. So yeah, we'll spread it on the field behind the spreader. Actually, we moldboard plowed that field. We're going to spread it on that field, and that's going to be a green manure also. So we're trying to grow bigger, bulkier green manures is the plan. So we'll see how that turns out. But if you're wanting any little tips on spreading compost, so we're using a vertical beater spreader. It's a bunning spreader that we're using, and to give you a starting point, it's not spreading it very far. It's only spreading it about 20 feet, which that you can see is going back for another load right now. So it's kind of tricky to spread. It's light, it's dusty, and it doesn't want to throw as far as manure. So that's something we've learned. So we're spreading it 20 feet, and then we're driving as fast as we can pretty well with the chain going real slow, and that's giving us like 3 tons an acre. So if you're doing any compost, that's a place to start. If you're looking for something better to use for a spreader. I think a chicken litter spreader, something with really big discs on the bottom, would work much better. But this is working good too. 20 feet's fine. Just keep clipping along. If you can drive fast, you still get something done. So yeah, that's how she's going in Manitoba today. We'll just keep on plodding along and get her done.